Welcome back to the show. We've talked about celiac disease on the show in the past, and of course we're going to talk a little bit about the disease and sort of those signs and symptoms, but I really like the fact we're talking about something incredibly positive for young people that are living with celiac disease, and that is a celiac summer camp. And here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Carmen Rupp-Eke. She is a volunteer board advisor with Camp Celiac. Welcome. Great to have you here, Carmen.
Thank you, Derek. So nice to be here.
Yeah, so let's remind everybody at home, there's a lot of attention has been paid to celiac disease over the years, but for those that aren't familiar, what is celiac disease?
Sure, yeah. So celiac disease is an autoimmune disease that affects about 1% of the population.
Okay.
And so if you have celiac disease and you eat gluten, which is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye, your body attacks its intestine, and you can be very sick, short, long-term, depends. There's like 400 different symptoms that you could have.
I was just going to ask you the signs and the symptoms as my follow-up, but I guess that's pretty much difficult for you to do,
well,
right?
The biggest one is failure to thrive in little kids. It's a lot more younger kids are being diagnosed over the past 10 years. My daughter was diagnosed when she was 7, and I see more and more kids being diagnosed. And so failure to thrive is one of the worst, where the kids are not growing, they're not thriving.
I see, okay.
But other symptoms are like stomach issues, mouth, like ulcers in your mouth, headaches, anxiety is a big one. They're really now talking about that a little bit, where, you can have like other issues.
Well, for sure, right? Anything physical will affect you mentally, and we see that with a lot of different diseases. So if we don't tackle it right immediately, then it can snowball into having mental health issues for sure. Is fatigue a part of it too?
Fatigue is absolutely another one.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So let's go to your daughter. She was diagnosed with celiac disease. So what challenges has she faced as a young person?
Okay, yeah, so she was 7 when she was diagnosed, and she just felt very isolated.
Right.
You know, as a kid, she went to a lot of birthday parties, but all of a sudden she'd have to bring her own cupcake that was gluten-free, and she'd have to bring her own pizza that was safe for her to eat. So she stopped wanting to really go to birthday parties, and any social gathering where there's food, which is pretty much every social gathering, you're really left out. And it's difficult, especially, well, it's difficult for adults, but it's really difficult for kids.
For sure, yeah, I can see that. And we should be clear, too, this isn't gluten intolerance. This is a very serious disease that has consequences if you cannot manage it properly, which brings me to Camp Celiac, because here's a great, so, that summer camp experience is a magical experience for someone young, but for someone with celiac disease, I imagine it can be difficult, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So my daughter was like, I don't want to go to camp. I don't want to have to, maybe line up for special food or potentially get sick from cross-contamination.
Right.
So I thought, well, they have camps for different, like for diabetes and this and that. Why don't we see if we can get a Camp Celiac together? And so that was my... That was my vision, and a couple of years later, I found a local camp called Camp Davern.
Okay.
That was open to having 2 weeks of gluten-free food service during the summer, and it would be an integrated camp, so Camp Davern would still be able to have their children, and we have Camp Celiac kids that come in who have celiac, or their brothers and sisters or friends that come together to this camp, which is just like a regular summer camp.
So regular activities, right? Like any other summer camp, such as, just give me an example of what the camp offers.
Paddle boarding, high ropes, canoeing. Yeah, they go for sleep outs where they canoe to a spot and make a fire and cook over the fire. It's really magical.
Stay in a cabin and you get to, it's, as I said, it's magical. I had the good fortune, and not everybody has the means of going to summer camp, and it can be life-changing for a young person, and I can say it was for me. You mentioned integrated. I guess that was really important, right? Is again, not going into the food line, and it's really not a hardship, right?
No.
For those that don't have celiac disease to eat from a menu that's good for those that live with celiac disease, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we work really hard on the menu and make sure that it's very child friendly. And I think the importance is that a child can go to camp with their best friend or with their sibling, and just don't have to worry about food at all. And have fun knowing that anything that's served to them is gluten-free.
What about the response from the staff, right? Because, I know that, I was a counselor at the camp I went to, and it's a really close-knit group, right? And it's a lot, by the way, if you're looking for a summer job, I cannot encourage people enough to become a camp counselor. It's just...
I know, I wish I had done it.
Yeah, it's just an absolutely amazing experience. But, I guess this didn't change anything for them at all, did it?
Well, I think they were probably a bit hesitant at the beginning because they didn't know what was to come, and especially because our camp is near the end of the summer, so they would have already, been at camp all summer. But they loved the food. They loved that it was different. We have like quesadillas and falafel salad and all these cool things that they wouldn't normally get when they have grilled cheese or, very simple, easy things.
I'm imagining you can't do this on your own. You're obviously you're sort of the team lead, but did you get other parents that got involved in helping you out with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm part of the board of advisors, and Camp Celiac is really Camp Davern, and so we work with the Camp Davern crew, which are amazing, and there are a number of other parents that help with the menu planning and logistics, and we go into the camp and volunteer in the kitchen to make sure that things go smoothly and just double check all the food coming in and make sure everything is clean at the beginning of camp. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a ton of work.
I can imagine.
I spend a week at camp where I wake up in the morning, help with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dishes, but it's super rewarding.
So there's 2 one-week opportunities, or you can go for the full 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. How do people find out more information if someone's watching right now and they want to get their child involved?
Yeah, so we have a website, campceliac.ca, and we're also on Facebook, where you can find us under Camp Celiac.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Carmen.
Thank
Real pleasure
you.
meeting you. Ages 7 to 17, by the way, and that's August 13th to the 25th. So either the full 2 weeks or you can do 1 week at a time. We'll be right back after this.